All right, what's up with you?
Oh, not too much. I was just going to bring up the recent situation in Ireland where a woman was denied an abortion and subsequently died as a result. And I know several of us have talked about it on our Facebook pages already, and I'm sure they talked about it this past week on the Godless Bitches. I wasn't on because of technical issues, but I know if we don't bring it up, people will ask us why not. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit here. So,
And when she died, I mean, they didn't. It's not like they saved the child by denying her the
no,
abortion.
she was 17 weeks pregnant. She came in. She had basically an impending miscarriage anyway, and rather than go ahead and terminate the pregnancy as they should have done, they decided that they would wait because they said that the fetus had a heartbeat. As long as the fetus had a heartbeat, they weren't going to do anything. And so I think it took about 2.5 days. She finally did have the miscarriage, or the fetus died or something in utero. The fetus was doomed anyway because by then she had a high fever and she had septicemia. So she actually had a really severe infection. And so they eventually did a D&C, started her on antibiotics, but it was too late and she died. And it wasn't necessary.
Now, this happened in Ireland. What's the general legal status of abortion there?
Well, she, as I understand it, it is actually permitted in cases where the mother's life is threatened. And in this case it was, but when she asked for an abortion, and bear in mind, she wanted this child, okay? So it wasn't like she came in seeking an abortion. She actually wanted to have a child, but at some point she, became resigned to the fact that she was going to lose the pregnancy. And at that point she said, hey, I'm in pain, clearly something's wrong here, I want an abortion. And they said, well, we can't do that because, this is Ireland and this is a Catholic country. And she said, I'm neither Irish nor Catholic. So, it's a case of a country that is basing its laws on somebody's religious beliefs, and they are denying, medical treatment to someone on the basis of that.
Yeah, that's terrible.
It's another example of why religion is a terrible basis for public policy.
Right. I find kind of a weird philosophical issue in a way about people who have a reason to abort their kids, even though they're ultimately planning to have children. Because generally people have a certain number of children that they're planning to have.
Right.
And so when somebody aborts winds up having to abort the fetus, that means that they're probably going to have another child. Like, let's say they were going to have 2 kids. They're going to try to have a second kid that they wouldn't have tried for if they had had the first one.
Yeah.
So really, if we're talking about people's potential lives, you're swapping one with another. I mean, it only gets to be a messy issue for people because they believe that there's this magical soul thing that happens, even though this fetus doesn't have consciousness yet.
Yeah.
And to me, consciousness is the defining factor.
And actually, we see a lot of this argument with all these people saying, "Oh, there's this many millions of children missing from the world because of abortion." And in reality,
boo-hoo, we got 7 billion of them.
Yeah, well, and I think it's I forget I'll have to look up the reference. I think it's Guttmacher Institute or something like that. They've done some research on this, and in fact, that's not true. Just what you were saying, that if a woman opts to have an abortion because she is single, or she feels like she can't care for a child, or whatever. Right. That doesn't change the number of children she has eventually. So if you go back and ask women, after they've had an abortion, how many children do you plan to have, and then you come back later on and you ask them how many did you have, the numbers match. So having the abortion doesn't change the number of children.
Even more than that, I mean, I can envision a scenario where somebody winds up having a child as a teenager because they can't I mean, the abortion is not available to them,
Right.
and it turns out to be such a drain on their resources. They can't wind up getting an education and such, that they might actually wind up having to have fewer kids than they would have
Yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah, I can.
So I mean, potential life is a dumb argument.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. All right. So that's basically what I wanted to bring up. It's just, another example of religion being a poor basis for public policy.
Okay.
All right.